Hey, it's Vha'shaelhur here again. This is my final Black Crusade game versus Stefan, who I haven't played in a long time. So just checking out those cards. I've got 2 tricolours, then 2 green and a blue. And I'm looking at the line here, and very quickly I decide it's got not that many units. They're quite expensive. I don't have a lot of economy here, so I decide to mulligan. Soul Grinder and Promotion is nice, but then I wouldn't be able to use the SDC. If I did one of my elites with the SDC, I wouldn't be able to use the Promotion. Can't afford to put out any other units. Wasn't too happy with that. And then I drew no units on the mulligan. So suddenly things are going very poor to begin. I'm looking at that starting hand, and I still feel like I'd probably have mulliganed it most times. I do have an Ominous Wind. I've just got no units to base it on. Yeah, just extremely poor luck with the mulligan here. And I think I possibly could have got away with what I had. Maybe I should have tried, but I feel like I could get, a Gut and Pillage, or a Splintered Path Acolyte, or a Promise of Glory, just so many other things that would have made me more inclined to use the opening hand and not mulligan. Maybe I should have decided that with the 2 tricolours and then 2 green, giving me, 4 planets that I can win with green on. Maybe I should have gone for the big units as quick as I can, put out the Soul Grinder instantly with the SDC and just tried to get big units onto the first few planets as quickly as I can and bully it through. But that wasn't to be. So I put out the Fortress of Madness in case I draw a unit later. I put out the Teleportarium because I might as well stall for a moment or two and see if anything else happens. He's managed to put out a Void Pirate, which is a nice, reasonable beginning. And then he follows it up with a Rogue Trader, which makes sense. And at that point, I could have put out another Teleportarium, but really it doesn't really mean anything at this point, so why bother? Stefan's a little bit confused by that, which I'm sure he would be. It's not the usual sort of action you see. I'm saying you'll see because I'm recording and he knows it, but I do look back at that and think, oh, maybe he thought I had a devious plan in mind. But no plan at all. A Viper onto Planet 3 is a good solid move. You can get to 2 or 4 easily enough, and depending on where Baharroth himself goes, the Viper can actually hit any planet on the board. So that's a really nice place to put the Viper, really good with Baharroth. Stefan's played him for quite a while and is getting pretty darn good at him. I didn't notice where I went for command there. I think I went Elwith with the thought that I really need to draw cards. I can't afford to try and win any planets. I need to just get out there and win some cards, because without some units I'm going to be walked over really quickly. Just waiting to see where Baharroth's going to end up. He's thinking. And he's picked somewhere. But he's taking a moment now. Maybe he's not so sure. Second guessing what he's done. I'm ready to flip, but just got to wait for your opponent, Yeah, he says done. Alright. So I'm off to Planet 5, he's off to Planet 4. Guaranteeing himself a decent command win, I guess, is his thought there. I was a bit surprised by that. I would have thought he would have gone to 1 or 2 to make sure he won the early planets. And I get a Demonette, which is okay, it's something. And I get a Demonic Incursion, which I'm probably going to need to use. And then, very quickly, the Viper and Baharroth himself jump over to be opposite my not particularly strong in one-on-one combat. Warlord. That one attack is not the best. So, neither of us going for Iridial, and sadly for Iridial, that means it is out of there. So a tricolour going with nobody even attempting to get it. It's a little bit sad. Alright, so Elwith, I'm thinking I'm going to get hurt. I could Archon Stare the Viper away, but that Archon Stare is probably going to be very useful. I think I might be able to get a Cultist out of the Rogue Trader if he lets it die, which would be very helpful for me. I could really use at least having like one little something to fight with, you know. So I figured I'd get some hits in first, see what I could do. Takes a couple of points, which is good. Just thinking about that trader. And he lets it die. No, he doesn't let it die. He nearly let it die, and then he changed his mind. I'm not sure why he's targeted it. I'm just wanting to make sure we're all on the same page here. He does, he shields it. Big call to use Cry of the Wind. It's a really valuable card with Baharroth, I think. One of the Sig squad that really helps. And I decide I am going to Archon Stare the Viper. I don't know that I can win against Baharroth by himself, but I feel like it's worth giving a try to try and bully him away a bit. But he nullifies my Archon Stare, which I have to admit I completely did not expect at all, and that left me going a bit, oh no, you know, like, ah dear. So I shield some damage because I want to reduce as much as possible. Iridial's just left the building, you know, so I minimise it a little bit if I can. Baharroth thankfully is exhausted, so I'm not taking the hit from him. And fine, I'm out of there. Ah, so rough, very rough. And that means he gets the trigger of Vha'shaelhur. So at least I got the 2-card draw. But no, not looking very good at all. So searching for a card. He's picked something that he enjoyed and grabbed it. That's fine. And with that, let's move on to the next phase, the next round, the next turn, and see if I get anything that's going to help. 2 Soul Grinders. Yeah, sure, that's alright. It'll do. Soul Grinders are decent enough. Bonesing Acquire is a bad sign. Him having such a good economy card already is, yeah, definitely a bad sign. So I get out of Soul Grinder, might as well throw that straight onto the first planet, try and get something going with that. And now I've got to sort of think about what will I be able to do next. I'm thinking I probably want to do an Ominous Wind. It's not ideal with a Soul Grinder, with a cost of 6, but at least it's more cards, and I might be able to pick up an STC, or Splintered Path Acolytes, or Promise of Glory, Gut and Pillage even, although Gut and Pillage wouldn't, oh yeah, first planet. Mighty Wraith Knight, which is really crux move there. That is a really impressive move, you know, nice call, and that's really going to hurt my Soul Grinder. I can't let him stay there because the Wraith Knight will be able to kill him pretty darn quickly. So I have to decide where am I going to go instead. It's not worth me going to Planet 1 anymore because I can't fight off a Wraith Knight. So I'm going to trigger my Teleportarium and throw him down to one of the blue planets that's left. I could have put him opposite the Viper to try and convince him to keep the Viper there and try and kill the Soul Grinder. Then I potentially could have committed to that planet and hoped he didn't, Baharroth didn't, because that might have allowed me to kill, well, a Rogue Trader with the Soul Grinder's ability. which wouldn't have been enough actually. But yeah, I was thinking about possibly trying to use the Mark of Slaanesh in some sort of tricky way, putting it on a rogue trader or a void pirate or something, but I can't quite figure out how to make it work in the way that I would want. I can do another teleportarium, but I can't see how it would be useful. Not at this stage anyway. I possibly still should have done the Ominous Wind at this point, maybe? I'm not sure if I do, but I think I should have. I decide to hold off. Okay. And Stefan is amazed to see that I've deployed one unit and nothing else has happened. Yeah, it's slim pickings this game. It was a really bad mulligan, worst I've ever had. But I mean, I'm the one that put together the deck that provides such a mulligan, such an opening hand, so I can't say it's, you know, just a fluky thing. It's my own fault. I designed it this way. And being so, you know, occasionally it just bulldozes along ridiculously, you know, with a gut and pillage and an SDC and a couple of Promise of Glories and 3 Helldrakes on the first turn and ominous winds going off everywhere. Well, the other extreme of that is you lose all this stuff. So I decided to snatch command there. I'm hoping that I'll be able to retreat before the Viper's able to swing at me. That was what I was thinking. And I wasn't going to win on Planum anyway, but so that doesn't matter. So there's my STC, that's good. I've got 2 Demonettes now, so that's something, that's a possibility. And now he's looking at his mobile and thinking about where does he want to end up. So he puts everything over opposite my Warlord, which means he gets to swing first. Which is kind of exactly what I didn't want, but I keep forgetting how flexible Baharroth is. He gets so much opportunity to really think about what battles does he actually want to commit to, which battles does he actually want to trigger. So I don't get a chance to trigger Yvonne, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to trigger it. Nope, skips past that, good and quick. He's got no actions. I don't have any more Icon Starers or anything, so I've got nothing I can think of to do. The Viper swings, and turn 2, Vha'shaelhur is bloodied, and I have 1 elite and nothing else on the board, and it's all just looking a little bit worrying. So he wins Alloy, he gets to pick himself another card. There's not a huge discrepancy of, there's only a difference of what, 2 resources and now a second card, so that's not a massive difference. The problem is of course that he has much more value on the table and I don't, which is often what I seem to create in my games. Alright, and that's the end of turn 2. Alright, so I've got another red planet, but that's no good. I've got a second STC, and I've got these teleportariums. So I'm beginning to think actually Ominous Wind might be useful now. It's my turn first, so what have I got? What am I going to do? And hard decisions, not sure what I want to do. I'm going for the Demonic Incursion. Now, if I'd have done the Ominous Wind, I simply would have drawn these 6 cards, and that would have worked pretty well, because then I would have had 2 STCs I could have thrown, and I could have chucked just about anything else that I wanted there, probably one of the Demonettes and one of the Teleportariums. That probably would have been a better move, the Ominous Wind. I'm not sure why I was holding on to it. I think I was afraid that I didn't have enough resources, and if I threw an Ominous Wind in, suddenly I wouldn't have the options to buy anything else. But if I'd have Ominous Wind, I would have had 5 resources, then I could have bought an STC and a Splintered Path Acolyte, because that was in the option there. That would have brought me down to 3, but I could have afforded my other Soul Grinder anyway at that point. I could have afforded the Possessed easily enough. I possibly could have put out Zaves, because I would have had my Fortress of Madness as well. So I would have had enough options at that point, I think. I think that would have been helpful. Soul Grinder and Zaves on the first planet, and then go there with my ward. That's 4 command icons, that's anything that dies, generates cultists, my ward would be helping it. I think that possibly would have been a useful idea. So looking back, I'm not sure why I didn't do it. I think I was too worried about resources. I mean, maybe hindsight, I'm looking at what I drew and thinking, oh, well, of course that would be useful, but, you know, how did I know I wasn't going to draw a whole lot of my expensive units, and then I don't have much economy going on, so I don't have a lot that I'm able to play, and I just end up with a hand full of things that I can't use. That's alright. I could still have played it now and see what I get from this one. I could get some good things if I tried it now. Corrupted Teleportarium during the deploy phase, so I can see if I can trigger off a bit of a killing something with the Soul Grinder. Makes his Craftwork Gate, Webway Passage sort of shenanigans a little bit more tricky to think about, I think. Potentially, maybe. Hey, check it out. There are Dark Elder in this deck. I think traditionally we find Baharroth hanging out with Tau, so it's a very interesting addition. I assume he's going to drop that onto Ossus. Can't think of anywhere else he'd want to put it. But he's not sure where he wants it, it looks like. And he just drops it down the end, just a general command, which is perfectly reasonable. Throw Possessed onto that first planet. It's my initiative. If I go to planet 1, he's got to be a little bit scared of the 9 attack beastie causing a problem, so that's good. And he's taking the Wraith Knight back. So I saw that and then instantly realised he has a Bones and Acquire, and he has 4 resources left. And as you can see, oh wow is my statement, because that's absolutely worthwhile. Here it comes. So there's not much point with the Mark of Slanesh. My kind of thought is the idea that if it dies in command, I might be able to pull the Possessed off planet 1. This is kind of what I'm thinking there. But now it's on a planet that I really don't need to worry about. And the Mark of Slanesh being down there is almost entirely useless. So this was one of the points where I began to really think I am just it's totally off my game here. I've been left flat-footed. Stefan's putting up just fantastic little dodgy, slippery moves to avoid anything I can bring to bear, and I'm feeling pretty despondent by now. I decided I'm still not using that Ominous Wind. I'm really kicking myself for that. I really should have gotten myself some cards. I think I was trying to wait to get a Keeper or even my Helldrake, but I should have used it by now just to see if I could get something to help. Wraith Knight to planet 1, exhausting everything. Just a horrific combination there. It's not even that big a combination, you know, it's just horrific. Just straight up horrific. Right, Planet 1's no good. Planet 2 would kill an Incubus, which would be nice, but he might come to Planet 2 as well. Planet 3, I can steal command, which is okay. Planet 5, I might even get a cultist out of, but it seems unlikely. Oh no, I can't get a cultist because I'm bloodied it already. So I decide I'm going to steal the command and run away. Pretty simple and straightforward. Stefan agrees, he's done too, so flip it over, where does he go? He wants to stop the Soul Grinder causing a problem, which is fine by me. I get 2 cards, he gets, what is that, 3 cards and 4 resources? That's a really solid income. Now he's beginning to stretch away from me with his possessions, with his resources and cards, you know, his economy. But I've got a Promise of Glory now. Sarve's probably isn't as useful right now, but Promise of Glory is good. So I'm thinking I might be able to sort something out for the next turn. Alright, mobile for the Viper and Baharroth. Viper can get to Planet 1 if he wants it to, by mobiling to Planet 2, and then having Baharroth mobile to Planet 1, and then the Viper reacts to that. Well, it's actually all simultaneous, isn't it? All the mobile moves, and then the Viper checks its reaction. If something moved from the planet it's at to another planet, well, it can go along that way too. Tough decision with the mobile, it seems. I'm thinking about it for quite a while. And there we go, he brings the Viper over to Planet 2, and that's all he's going to do. So Vha'shaelhur may be safe for now. Now I'm worried that the Soul Grinder is going to die. I haven't seen anything else, so I'm pulling that Ominous Wind. It's time to get something. There's my Heldrake, so that's good, especially with a Promise of Glory now showing up. Except he nullified it, which completely makes sense, completely reasonable, but I just jumped the gun in drawing my cards, and I absolutely should have been aware that I was playing against Eldar, and nullify is a possibility. So we decide that the best move for me to do is to put them back in and hit shuffle, so I don't know what they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a Warpsmith, a Soul Grinder, an Archon's Terror, a Heldrake, a Prince's Might, and a Keeper of Secrets. So after feeling like, oh good, I can finally put some big things in and it'll be useful, yay, it all goes away. Shuffle the deck. It's all gone. That's a real pain. And especially because actually the bottom of the deck with my Demonic Incursion, technically I could have been trying to set it up how I wanted it, you know, which is a pain. But my own fault for jumping the gun there, for acting far too quickly. So my Ominous Wind, completely wasted. Good call on Stefan using the saving a nullify for them, having a nullify available for it. Yeah, I can't say much other than that hurts. It really hurts me when that happens. I don't know if I'd have played the Ominous Wind sooner, as I could have, with the Soul Grinder out for so long. I don't know when he got that nullify, or whether or not it would have affected it. Possibly I waited too long and allowed him to draw the nullify and make it a possibility that he was going to be able to do, you know. Got rid of another STC, which is brilliant, I'm happy with that. Don't need the other STC, so that's all good. Claim bait, claim hate, yeah, perfect. But now he's on to 2 green, and then the next planet is green, then there's another green after that, after Alawith. So I'm really having trouble being able to stop him in any way. I think I decided it's worth having a go at something, having a go at the Warlord. You know, the Soul Grinder can't retreat, but that's where he uses his Shining Blade with 3 shields. Of course he does. He's been able to get away on command really nicely. He's managed to have an answer for everything I've thrown at him, so that's excellent. Excellent that he's able to get the Shining Blade out just in the right time. Takes a little bit of damage on Baharroth. But he cannot steal from me. I have no resources left. Ha 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 ha. Moral victory. I am the champion. Alright, so let's see if I can kill this Kappa and see if I can do something on the last turn, but otherwise it's going to be the last turn. I don't have much I can pull off here. So, try and kill it. And he shields it with a promotion, and then nothing. But that should, or at least it should mean that I win this planet. Yep, I get to choose a card, so that's really nice. Let's see what I get. Promise of Glory would be useful. Extended Seizures isn't that great at the moment. Prince's Might isn't that great at the moment. So I'll grab the Promise of Glory. Alright. So I've got a bit of economy for the last turn, but I've only got the Soul Grinder. We'll see how it goes. I have nothing else this turn, and neither does T-Mind, so around to turn 4. Archon's Terror is good. Watersmith, I was looking at and thinking, the Watersmith and the Promise of Glories theoretically could be quite interesting. Get the Soul Grinder out and stuff, but I can't quite find a way to make it really worthwhile. I'm thinking about trying to get combinations with the Demonettes to try and pull things off Planet 1. He's got an STC to go with his Bone Singer Choir now, which is very, very scary. I pause a moment because I want to make sure he's not nullifying it. Give him a second just in case he does. Alright, create some tokens. Alright, so that's good, finally. Promise of Glory, a bit of a stall, get some economy on the board. Alright, that could be useful. He's got a lot of big things. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull enough against him to cause him to, to stop all the big things he's managed to put there. Baharroth is out-eliting me by two elites to my 2 cultist tokens. Not what you want with Vha'shaelhur. And here they come. Wild Rival Squadron. Excellent card. Able to move itself over as a combat action, and he can move the Viper over to that planet and then move it back across with the squadron when he would like. So that's a really, really valuable combination there. That's really good. Waiting again to see if he nullifies, just making sure, gave him plenty of time. Got myself some more cultists. So I'm beginning to think now, if I use 1 for each Demonette to make them cost 2 each, and therefore be able to get out for the 4 resources that I have, then that also leaves me 2 more cultists that I can use to pull things off Planet 1 with. So, but then also, I need to make sure I get 2 resources to use that Archon's Terror. I know I've said this before on other videos, but I'm always really worried that I'm not actually going to get the resources that I think I'm going to get. and so I need to have the resources for Archon's Terror, and it may be worth me just doing one Demonette, and that way keeping the 2 resources available for the Archon's Terror for sure. Throws another Viper down to planet 3, which is quite good. And I'm going to have to start putting things out. Oh, and I go for a cheap Soul Grinder. So I've decided I'm going to just do the 1 Demonette. 1 Demonette using 2 Cultist tokens, and that leaves me 2 to hopefully at least trickle at once. Actually, I can do a free Demonette and still have 1 token left, and then I only need 1 resource to be able to do the Archon's Terror. 2 Demonettes might have made a difference, but the Soul Grinder himself is quite useful, so maybe not. 2 Demonettes, I wouldn't have had anything on planet 1, really, and having the Soul Grinder there I think I needed. So let's see what I can manage to pull off on this last little battle. Void Pirate, which he places on planet 1. He's clearly suspecting me to go there with my Warlord to guarantee the Soul Grinder kills something off, and he doesn't want to have to go there with Baharroth, which is fine. I can put the Demonette out. Yeah, there we go. I don't keep any resources, so I do need to... I need to go to Farron. I need 2 resources to be able to pull off my combat tricks. Might have been worth using up an extra Demonette so that I could go to Planum, whereas Farron is such an obvious place I need to go otherwise. But if I'd have been going to Planum, that might have been less obvious. Okay. Demonette is very helpful. Soul Grinder. I'm just wondering if a second Demonette instead of the Soul Grinder, how much it would have helped. Ah, well, maybe the Void Pirate wasn't to satisfy the Soul Grinder's effect. Because now, if I go to planet 1, he would lose something reasonable. Is it fair to expect him to go to planet 1? See, this is the thing. If I go to planet 1 and he doesn't, I'll get my 2 resources. We're sweet. But if he goes to planet 1 as well, I'm in a whole lot of trouble. So I have to think, where is the most reasonable place for me to go? Is it planet 1? Is he likely to go to planet 1 or just go to planet 2? It's really hard. So I've decided to go to planet 4, Farron, to try and, I think, be more guaranteed to get the money I need for the Archon's Terror. And he goes to planet 1. Yeah. So I needed to watch out for that. I think having the Soul Grinder then encouraged him to be there, which is why Farron was a better choice. So I get my 2 resources. Spot on. Okay. So I can have my Archon's Terror, I have my Demonettes, and the Soul Grinder hopefully can beat up whatever's left. We'll have to kind of see. So the Viper is going to move over to planet 2. No, obviously. But he moves the Viper from planet 1, which, to be honest, is amazing. I am so thrilled that he does that. Because now, if I Archon's Terror the Wild Rider Squadron, all those units are now stranded on the next planet and unable to affect the battle, which is phenomenal. Okay, we're over to combat actions. The very first thing I want to do is it the Archon's Terror I want to start with? I didn't think so. So I'm going to use the Demonette to pull the Wraith Knight. Get that big nasty thing out of the way, because no targeting from the Demonettes. Perfect anti-elite effect there. Cool. Okay, that's great. I still feel like I can win the first battle at this point, but he feels really confident because he's got those, everything's stuck on the other planet, which is fine because now I'll do that. Archon's Terror it away, and hopefully he can't nullify. He cannot nullify, so excellent. Alright, now Planet 1, I have a chance. Okay. I think that's the one good move I did in this game, was managing to Archon's Terror, the perfect unit there to leave a bunch of other things stranded. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping he'd pull the Vipers there. That definitely was helpful for me. Alright. So, I've got nothing else to do now. He's going to start swinging at me, and I've got no shields left in hand. So, big hit from the Incubus. And then, yeah, no other actions. He's going to get, I need to kill the Incubus really, but I need to try and bloody the Warlord if I get a chance. I should have gone for the Incubus actually. Actually, it doesn't really matter. If I bloody the Warlord, Incubus strikes first next turn and I die. If I killed off the Incubus, Baharroth hits me, then Baharroth gets to hit me again and I die, so the planet is still his. If I had a second Demon instead of the Soul Grinder, I might have been able to pull across the Incubus, but he still would have had Rogue Traders and Void Pirates, and that would have won the day anyway. So I think the Soul Grinder was the better hope, but unfortunately, just not good enough. So here we go, we stand up again, and he gets to swing first, regardless of actions. I'm going to stick around, I'm going to fight to the bitter end. Neither of us have any actions, so as soon as he swings with anything, it's dead. And he's got no actions, I've got no actions, and therefore GG. So I tried. Yep. So that was my performance for the Black Crusade. I made it to the top cut, which is amazing. I was thrilled. Make sure you join up. It is happening again later in the year, and I hope you really enjoyed watching me play my way through the games. But that's all for now. So catch you next time. Bye.